I don't title these things. So this,
I like it.
our colleague had an ascot, denim on, and no socks. So this is a tough act to follow.
That's pretty good. It's a tough act to follow. I'm just solid waste.
Waste of
This bill is really another form of oversight, in I think a more elegant way. 4 years ago, the state committed itself to a statewide recycling goal to be met by 2020. And you ask yourself, we could go and hold oversight hearings and say, well, in 2020, did you make it? Well, we're only 52%. And what we're doing is we're basically managing them along the way and moving the requirement from 50% to 60% by 2018 that in essence achieves the deliverable through this management process. Certainly we know the numbers of recycling in the state's been pretty good in terms of the large facilities and doing what they're doing. This is really kind of, I think, it's not in a big step, but I think it's an important step in kind of government management where we set these goals and we make sure in statute that they're held so that when we get to 2020, we've reached the objective of the solid waste disposed and recycled. I have Mr. Astor here one of my many witnesses on sludge.
We always applaud bills that lead by example. Please, first
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Kelly Astor on behalf of the California Refuse Recycling Council. We're proud to sponsor this legislation. I think it's best understood in the context of AB 341 enacted just a few years ago. That bill is different from its predecessor, AB 939, in an important respect. The 25 and 50% goals from the prior law were goals that were visited upon local agencies. Those are requirements that city and counties had to meet. They'd had enough with AB 939, so when AB 341 passed, we looked then to a statewide policy goal of 75%. We feel it's only proper that the state itself, in terms of its facilities, exhibit some progress toward attaining this new policy objective of 75. We felt that 60% was a modest step in the right direction. It has an important symbolic effect as well. And we're here for two reasons. We have the altruistic reason wanting to see more recycling because it betters the environment. Secondarily, our members operate the collection systems and the facilities that do the work. And so there's clearly a business opportunity for them in this as well. But the state carries with it a very important role here. We urge your aye vote.
Next witness.
Good afternoon, Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste. It's been 16 years since the last time we set a recycling goal for state agencies. At the time, the statewide goal was 50%, and we set a 50% goal for state agencies. Since then, we've upped it to 75. It's about time that we update the state agency requirements so we can really walk the walk instead of just talking the talk. We feel confident that we could do a lot more than 60%, and we hope to support this bill as it moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in support of?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Kathy Lynch representing CR&R, a recycler and waste hauler in Southern California, in strong support.
All right. Opposition. Anyone opposed to the idea of the state increasing its diversion from solid waste facilities to 60%?
But
would you care to close?
all I want to say, if it wouldn't be so inappropriate after this long day, we might want to include in a friendly amendment to add that tie into the recycling as well.
All right. The motion was out of order.
How to lose a vote.
No, this is a great. It's my seatmate. Come on.
Assistant, please call the roll.
Item 27, SB 742 by Senator Hertzberg. The motion is do pass and refer to Committee on Appropriations. Senators Wieckowski.
Aye.
Wieckowski, aye. Gaines. Bates. Hill.
Aye.
Hill, aye. Jackson. Jackson, aye. Leno.
Aye.
Leno, aye. Pavley.
Aye.
Pavley, aye. 5.
You have 5 votes. We'll keep it open for the absent members that are here, and congratulations. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Senator Bell says he is.
They called Pat. Is he here? Give it. Who's got the shortest bill? Who's got? Who's got the easy bill? That's what I want to know.
I do on alternative fuels, isn't it? Just a report
Yes.
on 29.
Yeah.
Right, you're,
There's no opposition.
okay, this is item number 25?
Yeah.
Item number 25, sorry, Senator Jackson. We'll go to Senator Pavley on her report. Oh. We just called Senator Pavley. Senator Bell will get to you in just a minute. This is item number 25. This is a greenhouse gas fund report.
It's a non-controversial bill with no opposition and actually support from Environmental Defense and Louis Brown representing the agricultural community. And so those of us, Senator Wachowski, you know, the volatility of gas that we've seen in the petroleum markets, this will help reduce that volatility by investing in alternative fuels. And the hope is to create those 21st century jobs right here in California by promoting biofuels. And so to diversify the fuel supply, which will help reduce the volatility of the market, and especially in conjunction with meeting the petroleum reduction targets by the governor, and it seems like Senator Leno and everyone else with lower carbon fuels. This is exactly what we should be doing to reach those targets. Good for the jobs, good for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Ask for your aye vote, and I have two witnesses.
First witness.
Erica.
I'm going to go first. Erica Morehouse, a senior attorney with the Environmental Defense Fund. California is moving full steam ahead to cut pollution from the transportation sector. We've developed nation-leading vehicle standards, thanks to Senator Pavley, led the world in electric vehicle penetration, have the first working low-carbon fuel standard, and we're implementing a cap-and-trade program that now includes transportation fuels. According to analysis that the Environmental Defense Fund did with the American Lung Association, these policies will deliver nearly $7 billion in health benefits over the next 10 years, avoiding countless lost days of work, cutting respiratory ailments, and reducing the rate of heart attacks. These policies also yield enhanced energy security with billions of dollars because they support diversified lower carbon fuel mix, including many fuels that are produced at home as opposed to imported. Notwithstanding the state's existing policies to transition to lower carbon fuels, the cost and process of breaking into the market to supply appreciable volumes of alternative fuels can prove very difficult. Over the past year, due to fluctuating fuel prices, uncertainty over federal incentives, as well as the low carbon fuel standards, some producers have even had to close operations. There must be something more that the state can do. SB 706 opens up a new pathway for lower carbon production, one tied to using cap-and-trade proceeds to cut greenhouse gas pollution while also providing the option for oil sector compliance planning. This bill forces a revision to the general idea that low-carbon fuels are going to be in limited supply and puts the state's money to work helping facilitate needed transportation, innovation, and production. Although SB 706 is coming to committee in a little bit of a work in progress form, its basic tenet and concept it presents supporting the development of low carbon fuels is something EDF strongly supports. And we look forward to continuing to work with the author. Thank you.
Sir.
Senator Pavley, Chairman Wachowski, members of the committee, thank you for your time. Just want to echo Senator Pavley's comments about the benefits of this bill. I'm Ryan Kenny on behalf of Clean Energy
I just wanted to give you your own business
Oh,
card.
no. Thank you. I'm Ryan Kenny on behalf of Clean Energy and on behalf of our trade association, the Bioenergy Association of California. We have been an early member of a coalition of biodiesel, ethanol, and biomethane stakeholders that are interested in supporting this bill. As was mentioned, it is early in the process. We look forward to a robust discussion and fully support this bill moving forward.
Anybody else in support of in-state production of alternative fuels with low carbon intensity?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Danielle Lynch. I'm here on behalf of CalSTART. We work with roughly 150 companies from all across the clean transportation space. Our analysis shows that California needs increased volumes of clean, low-carbon liquid biofuels and biogas to meet long-term climate, clean air, and petroleum reduction goals. We support SB 706 as California needs additional programs, including state investments, to support the commercialization of these fuels. Additionally, California can and should capture more of the job benefits from our climate policies, and this bill is a step in that direction. For those reasons, we support Senator Pavley and SB 706. Thank you.
Others in support?
Good afternoon, Argelia Leon on behalf of Pacific Ethanol, and we are in support as well.
Opposition to SB 706.
Mr. Chair, I move the bill.
There's a motion by Senator Leno. Seeing no questions, you may close, Senator.
Thank you very much. I note that your analysis has 5 questions, and many of them obviously need to be answered. And when this bill is finally amended, of course, Chair Wachowski, if you would like to have us come back before your committee as it moves through the process, I'd welcome that. Except
We'll
for on a
entertain-
day when we've already been here for 8 hours. Sorry.
Such an invitation is hard to pass up.
But who's administering the program?
Right.
And there's very good, thoughtful questions that need to be answered, and thank you very much.
Very
Ask for
good.
your aye vote.
All righty. Assistant?
Item 25, SB 706 by Senator Pavley. The motion is due pass and refer to Committee on Appropriations. Senators Wachowski.
Aye.
Wachowski, aye. Gaines. Bates. Hill.
Aye.
Hill, aye. Jackson.
Aye.
Jackson, aye. Leno.
Aye.
Leno, aye. Pavley.
Aye.
Pavley, aye.
That vote is 5-0. We'll keep the roll open for the missing members. Now, before we turn to SB 513 with Senator Bell, you can come forward. I forgot, which is understandable, that item number 20, SB 584 by Senator Nguyen, dealing with a California Environmental Quality Act exemption, will not be presented today. This is a 2-year bill. We will not be hearing that. So Senator Bell, let's talk about 513 and Carl Moyer.
Never met Carl Moyer. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I know you guys are long time. This is a long meeting, so I'll try to get through this as quick as possible. This bill, SB 513, is essentially a tune-up of the Carl Moyer program. Carl Moyer program under the Air Resources Board provides grants for cleaner engines, equipment, emission reduction technologies, and it's administered by local air districts, which also manage local AB 923 programs. These are incentive programs. These programs only fund technologies that are cleaner than required by the current federal, state, and local laws and regulations. These funds cannot be used to comply with current requirements. The legislature reauthorized the funding for the Moyer program in AB 8 in 2013. This bill 513, does not change the funding for that program. The committee analysis raises some constitutionality questions with the funding the legislature approved in AB 8. And until it's overturned in court, we're pretty confident that this funding will keep its integrity. My witnesses are happy to speak more in this detail if the committee wants to ask questions about that issue. AB 8 also required the ARB and local districts to convene public process to evaluate the Moyer program, which is now 15 years old. Now, through that process, ARB, local air districts, and other stakeholders all got together and identified a number of ways to make the program more effective. Hence, I call it a tune-up bill. This is a tune-up bill. This bill is a result of that extensive work. Now, these updates include enabling project sponsors to leverage other public funds, giving local air districts the flexibility to fund projects with multiple benefits, expand the program to include new technologies and more. And the bill has support of all 35 air districts in California, no opposition that I know of, passed unanimously out of our Transportation and Housing Committee last week. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. And we have some witnesses that can go over their points on this issue, so I'll turn it over to my witnesses, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members, my name is Alan Abbs, and I'm the Executive Director of the California Air Pollution Control Officers Association, an association of air pollution control officers from all 35 local air districts known as CAPCOA. We're pleased to co-sponsor this important legislation to make improvements to the Carl Moyer Memorial Air Quality Standards Attainment Program and the local AB 923 Incentive Program, both of which have been highly successful for many years. To date, the programs have collectively replaced more than 46,000 engines and have removed more than 174,000 tons of smog and 6,400 tons of toxic diesel particulates. However, new regulations have gone into effect and new emission reduction technologies have been introduced since these programs were first developed, creating barriers to funding. Current statute limits the ability of the programs to adjust to these changes and to take into account evolving cleaner technologies, cost of stationary and mobile regulations, and the ancillary benefits of the funded projects. During the public workshops mentioned by Senator Bell, a number of specific limitations to the program were identified. These include the inability to provide meaningful grant amounts to the cleanest and most advanced technologies, and to combine the Carl Moyer program with other funding sources. SB 513 addresses these issues, as Senator Bell previously mentioned. Mr. Chairman and members, this bill maintains the core focus of these successful programs, but makes important updates to ensure they can continue to fund ever-cleaning equipment that maximizes emission reductions. I respectfully request your support on this important measure. And also with me, I have Barbara Baird from the South Coast Air Quality Management District to answer any questions about legal issues.
Well, I guess one question, I might as well get it right out, is that we're collecting a fee on cars, and now we're Carl Moyer program is popular, it's laudable, it's great, but we're going to be spending some of those fees that we collect on cars on locomotives and marine items that are not paying the fee. Help me out.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Barbara Baird from South Coast Air Quality Management District. I do have experience with these fee issues when I was with San Diego County. I actually handled the San Diego Gas and Electric case, which was relied upon in the Sinclair paint case. Specific to your question of whether there's any requirement that a mitigation fee reduce pollution from the same sources that are paying the fee, the answer to that question is no. There's no such requirement in the Sinclair paint case or any other case. In fact, if you look at Sinclair paint, the fee was not used to reduce lead in paint. It was used to screen and treat children who had suffered the harm caused by lead emissions from paint, among other sources. So the benefit of the fee went to the children, not to the fee payer, and was not used to reduce lead in paint. Secondly, we have already precedent here in California upholding an air district fee, which was collected by the San Joaquin Valley Air District from indirect sources, which are sources that really attract motor vehicles. And the San Joaquin District set a standard that those sources had to reduce their emissions by a given amount, If they could not do so, then they paid a fee to the air district. And they used that fee not to reduce emissions at the indirect sources that paid the fee, but rather to reduce emissions from other sources. My understanding is substantially the same types of sources that are involved here in the Moyer program. So as long as the fee is used to mitigate the adverse effects of motor vehicle air pollution and can be done more cost effectively by reducing from other sources and does not exceed the cost of reducing that amount of air pollution, then none of the cases have any limitation on the ability to use the fee to reduce the same type of pollution from other sources.
Yeah, I just thought that Sinclair Paint had like 70 to 80% was collected from paint people, but there was like 20% was lead from gasoline when we had leaded gas, and then 5 was from miscellaneous. So there were other sources, although you point out right that the children that were it was being spent on, but the
Atlantic Ridge
front end was from it was spread out a little bit.
Yes, but the court did not require, for example, that the fee from the lead paint people be used to treat children who had been affected specifically by lead paint as opposed to by leaded gasoline or battery recyclers or whatever. The issue was whether they were paying more than their fair share of the total costs of the program. And in here, the motor vehicles are paying far less than their fair share of the cost of reducing the program, of reducing pollution, because it's only a couple dollars per vehicle, and motor vehicles emit pollution that would take far more than that to mitigate entirely.
Okay. Next witness.
Jennifer Gross with the Air Resources Board. AARB convened the working group process pursuant to ABA in collaboration with the air districts throughout 2014. We've been working closely with CAPCOA on the language, and I'm here to answer any technical questions.
Stay put. Others in support of Carl Moyer and SB 513.
Cindy Hillary on behalf of the 34 rural counties in California in support. Thank you.
Julie Malinowski-Ball on behalf of the California Electric Transportation Coalition. Actually, we think these are long overdue changes, and they go a long way to helping alternative fuels compete more in the Carl Moyer program. We support.
Good afternoon, Bonnie Holmes-Jen with the American Lung Association in California, and we are strongly supporting the bill. We were a co-sponsor of AB 8 and believe these incentive funds are critically important. And we think there's already a very strong legal basis established for the fees, and this bill is simply to provide more flexibility to the air districts in allocating these funds to achieve our smog, soot, and our climate goals. So we appreciate you moving the bill forward.
Sylvia Solis on behalf of the San Joaquin Air Pollution Control District. The district has some of the most polluted air in the country, and we believe SB 513 will modernize the Carl Moyer program and allow for continued air quality progress in some of California's most disadvantaged communities. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members, Brendan Tuig on behalf of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District in support.
Good afternoon, Ryan Kennedy, Clean Energy, in full support.
Tom Addison on behalf of the Bay Area Air District, time for a tune-up, in support.
Fabiola Lau on behalf of the Coalition for Clean Air, in support.
Justin Mullen for the California Natural Gas Vehicle Coalition, in support.
Barry Wallerstein on behalf of the South Coast Air Quality Management District, in strong support.
Danielle Lynch on behalf of CalSTART in support.
Okay. Opposition to SB 513. Questions of the author. Senator Leno.
Senator Bell, I thought I was listening carefully, so if I missed something, I apologize. The analysis lists about 13, 14 different concerns in addition to the constitutional question that was so ably responded to by your witness. Will you be taking these as amendments, or you're working on them with regard to the sunset, any of these others?
No.
Nothing?
We acknowledge them, but we're not in agreement with them.
And you don't think any additional definitions are necessary?
We'll discuss that, but we're not at this time ready to take any amendments.
What are we doing?
Do you have another
Nope, that's
follow-up? Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, looking at the bill, and certainly the need is there. There's no question about it. As someone who sat on the Air Resources Board and chaired the Bay Area Air Quality Management District and was part of that and understand the issue and the need is clearly there. But I do have a concern over the issues that were raised and the concerns raised in the analysis. And I mean, I know as Tom Addison said from the Bay Area District, it's time for a tune-up, and I would agree. Yeah. It's time for a tune-up. But I don't, a tune-up is one thing. Getting it right is I think, what we all want and need, I believe, to create that tune-up in the right way. So I'll vote for the bill today, but, I think it will go to appropriations, and I'd like to see these issues addressed because they are significant. And when we're talking about auto fuel and how it's just, there are a number of things, and I think that it clearly identifies them, and I think they need to be addressed in one way or another in order for this to be a successful, and what I feel would be the proper tune-up that's necessary to carry this for many years, and for the driving public to be supportive of spending that additional those additional funds for it. So I'll vote for it today, but I'm looking forward to some work on that, if we could, Mr. Chair.
Okay, before we close, I want to take a moment to commend the EQ staff for the thorough analysis and that they did and articulating the issue. I also want to commend the author for his leadership in modernizing, coming forward with a proposal to modernize a very popular program in the state. Carl Moyer has this long history of providing grants, funding for cleaner engines and equipment, and funding in the program has had an unbelievable positive effect on air quality. And it's a testament to the people from the air quality community who have come forward today. And we know of all the improvements it's had with the Central Valley. The program has helped communities that needed the improved air attainment the most, or getting them closer. I don't know if they've made it, but they got closer. So it is what it is. I'm going to support the bill, and you may close.
We're going to attempt to keep talking to people about these issues, so that's fine. I don't know how we can resolve them right now, but I'd be happy to talk to anybody that wants to discuss them with me about, and we'll continue to discuss them, but I can't resolve them here, of course.
Okay. Call the roll, Assistant. Oh, is there a motion? Oh, yeah, Senator Leno.
What am I chopped with?
Item 17, SB 513 by Senator Bell. The motion is due pass and referred to Committee on Appropriations. Senators Wieckowski?
Aye.
Wieckowski, aye. Gaines? Bates? Hill?
Aye.
Hill, aye. Jackson?
Aye.
Jackson, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Pavley?
Aye.
Pavley, aye.
5-0. We'll keep the roll open for those absent members.
Chairman.
Let's go back to today's most popular presenter, Senator Allen from Santa Monica. SB 778